Part 18. Winning after the close. The first thing I do after I make a sale is to prepare a file on the buyer with everything I know about him and about what we bought. At the same time, a special thanks you later goes out of the customer. I guess it's the pretty observed thing to do to thank the customer for buying from me. You would be surprised how many salesmen don't do it. This means that my thank you is noticed in that house because it's so rare. My thank you tells the customer how happy I was to sell him or her the car that he or she wanted. It also reminds him that I was pay 50 for anybody he sends into my who buys a new car. That's a very good time to remind him about buying a breeding you just told him when he got the car. And now you are reminding him when he is showing off the car and talking about it to neighbors and play the planet. I have a rules that I send out to thank you on the very same day as the sale. So I never forget. A lot of salesmen want to turn their back on the customer as soon as they have made their delivery. It's something is owing with the car and the person bring it is in some salesman even hide from the customer. They consider customer complaints and problems and autonomies that the feeling the wine gray, but it's the worst attitude you can have. I look at this way service problem and other customer complaints are a normal part of all business. Regardless of what you sell, if you handle them properly, they can help you sell a lot more in the future. When a new car comes in with a bad problem for service, the service department people know are they surprised or notify me. If I sold it, I will go out and try to pursue the customer. I will tell them I will make sure that the works is done right and that's well happy and will everything about the car and that's a part of my job and it's the customer has still a worse problem. My job is to take his side and make sure his car runs the way I should. I will fight for him with the message the was the dealer with the wish the factory. If anybody buys a lemon from me and it can happen, then I am going to turn the lemon into a place. I will do the whatever is necessary to get the car right. Sometimes I will even make an investment of my own pocket. Most places for insurance do not graduate well agreement. Even on a car, after all, a fellow hits the put hole of drivers over the aircraft and the first day his curb and the agreement can go out. But if a customer comes back and asks for the agreement job, I'll make sure he gets and if the pay for it out of my own pocket. It cost me only about 15 tax durable and it's make the customer feel I really want him to be happy. But it's also properly tell the customer that we cannot expect to get second on trade. The value of taking the customer side on your observes, I become a friend. You come back to me, get our next car, and I will tell a lot of people about me and if I stand behind you. That's one of the best ways to make customers into believers and believers in you and it's your interest to in their satisfactions. I look at a customer as a long-term investment. I am not just going to sell him that once car that tell him observed in the when it's not satisfied with that car. I expect to sell him every car he is ever going to buy. And I want to sell his friends and his relatives. And when at the time comes, I am going to sell his children their cars too. So when somebody buys from me, he's going to love that experience and he's going to remember and it's a remember me and tell about into everybody he runs into who needs a car. I look at every customer as he's going to be like a alternative to me for the rest of my life. So they have to be happy. They have to be relieved in me. I think people buy from me because they are tired to getting hosted. They are tired to getting hurt. They know what has happened to them. What a salesman hates them for high say price and that runs hits when they needs his help to get the car right. They know when that happens. They may have been gobble ons. All ons you have to do to it turns your back on a customer and he knows he has been hustled and conned and lied too. But not my customer when somebody comes in who is in a hurry because they needs a car bad. A lot of salesmen will be tempted to serve it to him good. They will take advantage from his needs and hits him from a plate of praise. Maybe 600 USD more than he would have to pay. It's happened a little, but he has no time to shop. When I run into a customer that the salesman, I may not give the car away to him. Why should I? If he is willing to make a first deal without shopping, I'll make a good profit for it the dealer for me. That's a far to everybody. But I am not going to house a customer just because he happens to need something in a hurry. Look at is the away. A person who is in a hurry and is willing to pay more than he should is going to find out soon that what is done to him. And then she is going to hit the crawling to start bad mouthing the car, the dealer and the salesman who needs that. Not me. I can probably afford a few losses, but you never know who is going to cost be bring entry. And besides, I like it when my customer and happy. It makes me happy. Make a lemon into a place. When the customer drives into the service department with a genuine lemon, it can take me and my people a lot of time and energy making phone calls and finding the pieces up to expert puzzle to make that car right. Buying from me can the worth as much as 1500 more than buying from another salesman just because of the war. I take the care of the customer who have problems. I don't take a customer pay more for that kind of quality service. He gets into no matter how good a deal be gets. I don't write down here on the card that he bought a ship from that I don't have to do anything else from him. Everybody gets the some quality of service from me. I think that should I work in any field, if I buy a sweet during a sale, I expect to eat fit as well as I bought at the top price. And I get the feeling that they are trying to avoid during enough alterations to make a sweet fit. I am going to learn them to get it right, and I am going to remember their treatment when I went another street. Automobile service is a big mystery to a lot of people. In the old days, cars were simple and every boy through he know that's all was to know about how they work and how to fix them. But those days cars are a lot more complicated them to used to be. Even though cars are better, a lot of people feel very helpless when things go wrong. I know a few people who have taken night school course into replace just so I know what the mechanic is talking about. That gets us back to lemons. They can happen, they don't happen very often, but they do happen maybe because as inspector of the factory had a hurt gopher. Maybe because a spider guffered on this important sub-similarity, I don't mean to put down in anybody in this industry, but something's occur comes up the line with a wall string of things wrong. It all around we throw to drive up the assembly line into the lot, and it's a will get past the final inspection, but then everything will hit the fan. I guess it's just a matter of the odds. One can need adjustment to the transmission. Another one has a piston that does not fit in this slider. Another one is family care into the rear exits they can case it fixes up pretty easily. But what happens when on this couple of 100,000 times it all happens in the same car? You will get the lemon. Come in the with the one thing wrong and it's get fixed. Then a few days later another thing goes short and you are back in a lot of relationships. Their attitude is, here comes the curve again. Well, let me tell you when the guy gets the lemon. The only crabs are the people who want to do right by him. It's not so easy to take care of lemons. I keep on the very good terms with the people in the service department, buying them coffee in the mornings, gifts when there's waves believe, and this thing like, but those are business instruction because I mean business when this customers comes in the with service problem. I also know the right people to call the government officers and when and nothing else works. I just call somebody down to make sure any customer gets what is earned too. All this cost and me money. It takes a good pace of time. But I don't think have SOS. Just think and somebody lying in their funeral home. And it's a was all the people coming into the pay their last respects. A man comes home, serves, changes clothes, and maybe misses his brewing night to get shades filled at the last time. Think the pulling power of that guy lying that Sinjin Linette box, and there will be about 250 more people going through the same thing to see him. Everybody has that kind of pulling power, and none of us in the profession of the selling can afford it to just ride on single customer because of those 250 people his life influencers. All I know, people talk a lot about cars. In many parts of the country, it's a favorite topic in the conversation between people even more than the weather. And what I keep telling is that somewhere out there, people are telling a story about how they bought a car, new car, and everything started going wrong with it. They keep coming back in the service but never get it fixed right. So they would not buy that kind of car again. And then one person starts telling the same story and he ends up saying, I told my salesman Girard about my problems and before I know it, that the car was running better than now. I know that people, the things that like to about him threat him because there have no people come in and ask him me by name. I always ask him how they heard about me. It's a great opinion and it's a surprise how the them mention somebody else that told him what deals good treatment he got from me. Don't mean to sound like some kind of train good, but I think that's just not a lot of the wall professions. You can be sure it's does not a lot of my businesses. I hope that that's the time you understand that I do a lot of things that other salesmen don't do. And I also hope you understand that what I do works for everybody. I'm good to my customers and they know I really care about them and they believe in me. But I don't do anything for love. I do it for money. I have often said that the thing I like to do the most in the world is slave, and it's my hobby and it's my favorite occupation. So when I hate to get out of bed in the morning, somebody is going to pay for it. But when I do treat my customers well, nobody goes out and says, Gerd, I does not really mean it. He only does it for the money. When I say that's a do really mean it's and I do for the money, but I lot of placement to be nice to customer then they treat them like machines and run and hide when they come with the tribbles and you make a lot of money by making your customer relievers. I know a man who used a to buy all his clothes in on store from on salesman. He had walked into the store after seeing something in the window that he liked. The salesman who was outsold him to said with him, he wanted to buy two or the three sweets from the man and don't even need them because he mostly did not wear suits and his work. But the salesman took the trouble to find out what he liked and he worked always to remember the with the hunter with the man bought something and something he would be tell him when he come into he think there was anything new the customer would like. That was almost a challenge to do a man to try to prove that the salesman was wrong. Anyway, one day he came in the asked of salesman, somebody came over and said it the main restricted and walked away. The customer hung around for the wall looking at sweets and rag and even third of the jacket, but nobody went over to him. He finally left and never comes back again. So don't tell me that the relationship between the salesman and the another customer is not important. I sell something that hundreds of thousands of other salesmen sell. I converted it's a converted your property thing. You can buy them any town the country. That's a like Alec right. Wrong. A collaborator sold by Joe Girard is not just a card, it's a whole relationship between me and that the customer and his family and his friends and the people he works with about 250 people. You must be thinking that you have heard at this before, but it's okay saying it because I believe it and I know it works. And most of the observed thing in the world to me, and it makes my business life very interesting and very profitable. But I will keep saying it because even though it's obvious to me, it must to be very obvious to anybody else. Otherwise, it comes there are so many salesmen who barely make a living and so many customers who think all salesmen and race hunters. I have been telling you how important the after sales praise is. I have told you how I always send a thank you every customer. I have given the customer idea how I take the care of my customer when they have service problems with the cars I have sold them. So you get the idea. I say with them as much as possible, not only I do the thing I have declared, but I also do on thing and other thing does. Even if I never hear from the customer after the sale, I keep in touch a lot of salesmen to take their commissions and then forget the customer especially. It's a no problem with the car, but it's a might expect a look think a lot differently. It's a salesman a car, they will get my thing and it will they get me help with the service department if they need it. But even if they don't need help, they are going to hire from me. A few weeks or months after I make the sale, I'll go through my file of recent customer and they start calling them on the telephone. You would think they might be asking for terrible, but it's a make asking for the future businesses of interesting. I get just about the tropical experience of the average person buying a car from the average salesman. When it offers, the customer is revealed just to have got out their own place. Customer is different. I work hard and they know it. When it's over, they are revealed too, but it's not because they started from the clothes of the high pressure salesman, but because they got through an experience in which they studied or the fuel indeed after feeling satisfied they don't get better than they expected. Then I pick up the phone, dial, ask how the car is usually called during the downtime they get the wire. I haven't seen them since they took delivery. Then I figured they'd have to no problems. The wire usually will say that car is fine. I also this being not terrible. I remind it's coming in the series the Sikap's necessary it keeps worrying and options. It's tell her so I tell husband the big problem with this any car retail is a miles problem. Or whatever is shit began in the asking for me. Then I ask she knows anybody who is looking by a car. I'll suggest friends relevant to remind that I'll be prepared for any customer who buys from me. She's brother is law was talking the other night about how beat up the car is. I asked her for his name and number, and I always ask her to do me the favor and please call him. And I'll call him later. Then I remind her about the 50 and say goodbye. No sounds after that the worms will tell her husband that I called and asked about that whatever the car was okay. And it's his number bought from my briefer. It might fall the hours clears because everybody thinks no salesman, especially the car salesman, ever gives dreaming about the customer after the sale. And maybe I will be able to sell brother-in-law. So Spence saying the goods business because it gets a fit in reading her. Brother-in-law because it's a satisfied customer in the family. I know I have to look the bias every 3 or 4 or 5 years. My way is better if when I am describing it's so obvious. How can most salesmen never do it? I know that I am not smarter than others, and I know that I am not a nicer person, but perhaps I have to just figure out the out better and put the whole selling process together. Maybe that's because I come it too late. Don't have to is usual, but advice it is inventive on methods. I don't know all the stuff that most salesmen know about my hearing around the waiting for a mass, a curve, or a folk, and maybe also is in my need. The succeed of work it but it's thing I know is sure that's something about my the moment of one salesman finally to get the order. It's closed their minds. They got of what they wanted and they forget all the smart things and they should know about follow up and keeping the customer happy for the next sale or referral. I tell you that's because I understand it. I understand this desire to make the sale and just hold the money in your hand. I understand it's a wall, so anybody may be even better because I understand the feeling and a wall enough to keep from visiting me. It makes me 150 for an hour work. I know the testimony to think that's how it goes. But when I feel the television coming on, and I also feel the cute for it. What's the cute? It's using you heard nobody who sells cars makes 150 in the hour or even 2. Either it's just spend a lot of time to money reading business planning to seats, filling the fares, the whole sets. Or if you have spent a lot of hours doing nothing, it's a sell on the day car and makes 150, which is a pretty big average commission. If you don't make 150 for hours of work, you will make 150 for a day work. Now, that's not bad, but in fact, if I sold a day, it's a world over average car salesman, but you would not be making 150 an hour. I sell more than 6 cars every day, and I will the world's greatest salesman as far as the Genius Book of the World Records in cornered. And I know that I have to spend a lot of time and money to do it. It costs me a lot of my commissions to do the kind of businesses I do. But it's a worth is it because I sell more, feel better about my work. And even what I spend to get business, still get to keep more after taxes than the other retails automobile salesman in this country. There is nothing about that the Genius book, but I will bet it's true. So, it's you are listing to me, keep the listing because it's all about satisfaction and money. And nobody can tell me that all effort it takes to sell nearly 14 cars to make around 505 lakhs in a year is worth in the real businesses. Keep sitting after the close, the money gets even bigger. Thanks for listening.